You may notice that at the recording today, at the start of the recording, I'm sitting up here. I'm not feeling the best. No, I'm not sad. I'm fine. Well, I mean, I am sad. I mean, my wife is gone, but she's coming back today, so.
Is that why you didn't reply to my email?
Huh?
Is that why you didn't reply to my email over the weekend?
Yeah. Like, no, she wasn't gone over the weekend. The reason I didn't reply over the weekend is because I took my first family weekend, and my gosh, forever. I think it's the first. I got all the grading done, with the exception of 4 SA2s, I think. But otherwise, everything was completely done. Now I'll still try to remember to grade revisions and things, but my concentration at this point is going to be on research paper planning assignments. So when y'all get those in, I'll grade those. It's going to be a busy week though, and I have a lot of students who've emailed me quizzes they need opened. So those will be opened. It's just going to take some time to do so because I'm going to have to enter them into my Excel file because there are so many. Enter them into my Excel file and say like these people need it open. And so when I go and I make like the opening the quiz, I'll have to go and look at each person on the list.
But you mean like reopen past quizzes? Or?
Yeah, because some people have told me like, oh, I have an internet issue, and I opened it at that moment, but and then people saw their graded conferences and went, oh, those quizzes, I was supposed to do those. And some people didn't realize, they said every time I try to go to them, they're never open. And I said, well, I mean, usually they're only open on the weekends. They're only open from like Friday to Sunday, not during the week. And I think we'll get confused on that. Yeah.
Did we have a quiz and a discussion post this weekend?
No, we did not actually.
Okay.
Which I checked my syllabus and.
Because I emailed you and I was like, are you going to put this up because we're supposed to do it? And you never emailed me back, so I was like, okay, well, I guess I'm just not.
Yeah, I'm not sure why, but Blackboard didn't have that in place, so I just was like, no, I guess we'll wait. Which was really weird because we weren't going to be able to talk about them this week anyway.
Exactly.
So I thought, well, how convenient, I'll just keep it that way, I guess.
Yeah, so we didn't talk about the readings on quiz 7 either, so that's why.
Did you email me about that? Oh, okay. Because I was wondering, I was like, I knew I got one email, maybe two.
I didn't email you, but I took the quiz when I was like in distraught.
But it was quiz 6, right?
So you want it reopened again for you?
No, I don't want you to reopen it.
Oh, okay. You're just like, I was just distraught.
No, I just didn't take it with a clear head, so.
Oh, okay.
Oh, no, I did that once, and I emailed you. Yeah, I took one time at like 1 in the morning.
Somebody from Paris.
I shouldn't have.
I'm saying that I had a quiz.
I got an email. I just wanted to get it done. Yeah.
Did you have all your papers in at the time?
Except for the Antigone one, but I still had like 80 something on the grades that we reviewed that day.
Okay. Well, see, the thing is, that's why I was telling everybody to, with your midterm grade, granted, the midterm grade, if they were bad, you should take them seriously, but only if your grade conference grade was still low.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so what happened was I had to submit those midterm grades by Friday of last week at 9 a.m., and I submitted, I think, the last ones at 8:54 a.m.
That's what I thought it was. I didn't forget this, that, I thought.
And so any of those papers that I graded for people over the weekend weren't factored into that midterm grade.
That's okay.
Because I think a lot of people had, like, the Antigone essay wasn't included, and so that made a huge, because that was most of, like, the grades was, like, the 3 essays and, like, some quizzes and discussion posts, but for the most part, one essay being gone would really hurt you for that midterm grade, but for the grading conference grade, not so much.
Oh.
Because I've got those.
It doesn't really affect, I don't get any financial aid or any decision, it doesn't affect me, but I was just wondering.
Are they using midterm grades as a way of lowering people's financial aid?
No, I don't have financial
aid. Oh, okay.
So I was saying, it doesn't affect me in any way.
Yeah, I hope that's not an issue. They might. I think they're using absences to, because they might be doing like a release. I don't really know, so don't take what I'm saying. Take it with a grain of salt. But they might be using release schedules of financial aid now, so that if you're absent a bunch, like if you stop coming to class entirely, they'll have a record of that. They see it because we do attendance every day now. Which I've always done attendance, but now gets reported. But if you just stop coming, if they're giving y'all, are they giving y'all like little checks one at a time instead of one big giant check like they used to?
No, it's just one big one.
Oh, well, I don't know. Maybe they haven't started doing that yet. Because I thought it was gonna be like if they determined that like you came for like the first weeks and then you just stopped coming. and like you were technically still enrolled in the class because it was like the past that date where you have to like be withdrawn from the class if you didn't show up. I thought they were gonna like start, if people like just suddenly quit coming, they wouldn't get the rest of their financial aid. But I don't know if that's, I guess they're not doing that. So we'll see. Maybe they're only doing it with student loans or something. I don't know.
Didn't they just start the loans though?
Yeah, they just started them. Yeah. So I think that.
And then I was trying to save them to the folder, and then they wanted me to sign into that host site,
Mm-hmm.
and I screwed up my whole thing, and now I can't get into the research
That you saved?
site outside of the school.
So won't let you get in at all.
When you're at home, you can't do it.
Right. Like it won't let me in. It lets me in here. Like I went to the library and he showed me that I can get in here, but he said once I leave, it's probably gonna do the same thing. Cause it tries to make me sign into that site, but I can't sign into that site. So it won't let me do my research like outside of the school.
There might be a way where, is it something that you tied to your account, like it's, or just the way you logged in? Do you have Google Chrome?
Yes.
One thing you could try doing is, there are two options. One, you could try using a different browser.
Okay.
Two, you could try doing, there's a button, you make an incognito window. Control-Shift-N on Google Chrome makes a new window, but it's got a black bar at the top. A lot of people think that that's just used to look up naughty things on the internet.
Like this pops up when I try to get in.
The database is off campus tab.
Do Control-Shift-N and try to go back in there. I'm curious as to what happens. Control-Shift-N. In on the keyboard, yeah. Letter N. And now go through the same process again of trying to go to the main website and then log in and go to the databases. Because what incognito really does is it creates a separate instance of Google Chrome. So it's kind of like, I don't know, if you think of you getting on Google Chrome usually as like you're walking into a room and like all your stuff is already there. Doing an incognito is like having another room you walk into. So it has like a whole new set of things that is all different. And a lot of people use that extra room to do naughty things, but what you really can do is just have a different place to do stuff that it's not going to mess up your main room. Did it work?
Yes, I was freaking out because I was like, oh my god, I can't even.
So the incognito window worked. The good thing too is every time you close an incognito window, it gets rid of what information, well actually, that's not true. Whenever you close an incognito window, if somehow you end up messing it up again, you'll have to close all of Chrome and then open it all back up, because an incognito window will last as long, the login information you have used on there will last as long as your session lasts. But once you end all your whole session and you start another one, all the stuff you've done on the incognito window goes away. And you can redo it. So it should always work, because it's kind of like, you know, on our regular stuff, like it has these cookies. You know, cookies are essentially just a way of saving information of you going around the internet, and it keeps it. But incognito windows, they have cookies temporarily and then they go away.
And it's Control-Shift-N.
Yes. And I use it. Y'all probably seen me before when I've shown y'all how to do things. Sometimes on Blackboard, I can have Blackboard open in my window for me, and then have an incognito window I do for Magnus Baraka. So we can both be logged at the same time on the same machine because of the way it sets up a separate instance. It's like having another computer's Google Chrome on there for a second.
Because basically, if you try to go into Blackboard under both two Google Chromes, it would just.
Yeah, I'd have to like log out on me and then log back in as Magnus. And I got so tired of doing that, and I was like, I wonder if this will work in an incognito window. And it did. And I'm just not gonna say that. Silly. It's inappropriate. So we're gonna talk about the poetry today. Did I already talk about the fact that I'm sick?
Yes, you told me you were sad.
Can y'all remind me at 10:30 if y'all are able to do take my medicine?
Can you make sure you take your medicine?
Yeah, that doesn't help me now.
No, you said what's up?
Yeah, 10:30.
Oh.
Yeah, 10:30. Because that's when I have to, huh?
What's wrong?
Scratchy throat, and I think I'm congested, but I think I caught it early enough that I don't have to. Like, I took the medicine, so I think I'm keeping that away.
You better not be
Um,
contagious.
I think I actually am. Just don't come near
Get
me.
me sick.
That's why I've been up there.
Huh? You didn't do any. You didn't. It's. I don't think it's like contact. I think. Because here's the weird thing: is my wife hasn't gotten it. My baby, I'm pretty sure, has it, and my daughter has it, and I have it, which is weird because my wife is in contact with everybody. So it very well could just be allergies that just me and my two daughters are getting, and my wife doesn't. And it could be sick. I don't really know. I got it later.
Are you running a fever?
Just out.
Well, when everybody had the crap come through, like when the weather came through like a week or two ago, I got nothing. My wife got something, but now I'm getting something.
This
Are you
week,
running
The change of weather.
Are you running a
this week I
fever?
had to do a lot of
Have you run a fever at all?
inhaler and
Then
asthma
it's
stuff
allergies.
because
Okay.
of my allergies.
Oh my gosh, I'm burning up.
Now, if you start running a fever, that means your body's trying to fight off an infection, and that means it is a sickness. But if you're
And
not
that
running a
means we're
fever,
all
then
weak.
it's just allergies.
Can I have a thermometer for some reason in here. It's one of Miss Anderson's thermometers, don't tell her. I could just stick this under my arm and then we'll see like when I'll teach the whole class with like this sticking out of my mouth like a giant cigar. So I do apologize that I'm not as energetic as usual. I mean, I'm still okay, right? I'm not terrible.
Well,
More
the
mellow.
way you're talking sounds sad. You don't sound upbeat.
Yeah, you're just like,
It sounds sad. If we,
That's why
while we're talking about sounding sad, we could move on to the poetry, but
we
Okay,
should.
one more.
one more question. Yeah,
Can we use an article from Google Scholar?
it depends.
Okay.
which is brutal.
Give me the article.
I'm trying to find an article about a specific thing and I can't find it.
What's the specific thing?
Can I look like somewhere else?
You can look somewhere else. I'll still just want it to be something that's at least somewhat credible.
So is there like a
And that's what the planning assignment's for anyway, is like, give me the 5 you know are going to be credible to me, and then go find extra stuff that you think you might use as well.
Okay, so just the 5 need to be like from this
Fit
one.
my criteria, yeah.
And then you can
Bless
find
you.
like
Thank
others
you.
elsewhere.
Yeah, now I'd prefer that you do primarily focus your attentions when you're writing a research paper on the articles that have been approved. Not so much if I say, sometimes I'll say this, I'll say, this is fine, here's your 9 or 10, but don't concentrate too heavily on these extra sources you have because I don't think they're as credible. And then sometimes people will give me an essay where when they write the essay, they mention the other articles once, and then the vast majority of their essay focuses on these articles I said weren't credible. Like, I don't want that to happen. But you can definitely use other stuff.
To make a point.
But if
To
we
make a
can
plan.
find like a pretty credible source.
Yeah, and keep in mind that I'm the one who has to think it's credible.
Okay. Gotcha.
And essentially, it's my job looking at articles all the time to determine their credibility. So, what would Nichols do is the WWND.
The format of the proof is included in Blackboard
The format of the, what is it?
of the whatever we're doing next. I guess next. Is it next class?
It's the planning, yeah. So
Yes,
the
it's
format of that is in Blackboard, although I don't know that I have an image for you guys. Do I have what the planning looks like?
No, but you showed us.
I did show you.
Last week.
I know, I don't have the video up yet though, so that's the issue.
You said you were gonna add the PowerPoint that you showed Thursday.
Oh, I didn't have that up there either?
Yeah,
Well, I
but you
didn't do
did
that.
say that you were gonna have like an image
Yeah.
to post. so
Okay,
that we could-
yeah, I'll do that. I'll still do that.
So
is our
basically-
research-
I will say this is oh my gosh, I need to have that up by Thursday though. Then I guess I'll try to work on that tonight. But I can't make 100% promises. I'm still taking care of my daughter tonight, so I've got all the like daddy duty stuff, like dinner and
Where's
bath,
your
and she's at a conference, an advising conference.
So basically, what we have to turn in is just the
Works cited and a thesis. That's it.
On Thursday.
But that thing that you cited for this book,
Yeah.
I couldn't find it. What is it under? Like you did the example citation for this and you just said we had to enter.
Oh, I've got it.
Oh, please.
Is it in the PDF for the weekend
Yeah,
assignment?
I looked.
Which our citation is gonna be the same, so if you need help, just let me know.
It might have been in the docket. It might have been in the document file and not the PDF,
Yeah.
Okay.
because then she'll get the chance to like, I guess, type it in. So, I should mention too, like, tomorrow's Halloween. We have a shark costume for the baby, so she'll be wearing it. Thursday,
Are y'all gonna be-
I'm going to the Paris campus from 1 to 3. Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm not going to wear it. No, we have a shark that I have a shirt that says "Daddy Shark do 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 do," and my wife has a shirt that says "Mommy Shark do 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 do." And I was like, this is so much better than us wearing costumes. Thank you. Carly, though, she's wearing this giant shark actual costume. So, we'll see how long. We'll probably have her wearing the shirt, I guess, underneath, so that if we have to take it off because she's just screaming, maybe that'll work. So that's of course Halloween's out the window for doing anything useful. I mean, emotionally useful, yes, but not school
It's
useful.
gonna rain though.
My wife finds a way. It's like it's like Jurassic Park. Wife finds a way. Except isn't it life in the movie? Not wife. But still, it's true of my wife. And then Thursday I'll be going to the main campus from 1 to 3, so that's going to take up part of the day, but I should be able to work on stuff in the evening. Because we have like a faculty meeting for all full-time faculty, so people like Cheryl Anderson and Jeff Tarrant and Jeff Norris and Nikki Lorraine, they'll all be canceling their 1 o'clock classes, I believe, if y'all talk to them.
Oh, that was well left.
Yeah, you should verify that with her though, because there may be certain teachers who've gotten waivers, so check with each teacher you have at 1 o'clock on Tuesday or on Thursday.
My teacher
check.
told me last week, so.
And then Friday, I'll be going to the main campus in the evening time. I don't yet know if I'm going to come to this campus. I probably will because I need to get work done. Just do. And then I'll be driving over to the Paris campus for the homecoming reception. But did you even know we had homecoming this school?
Where you get to vote.
Yeah, you get to vote for the thing.
I voted for myself.
Yeah.
Were you one of the people who was on the list? You just were like, I'm doing a write-in. Yeah, so I'll have a busy week, but on the weekend I'll start doing plannings and things. I'll do a little bit maybe on Thursday. No, I think on Thursday night, guys. I'll probably be catching up with all those quizzes, getting those done, and all the emails that I've behind on.
6 hours later.
All right, well, guys, it is almost time to go, so we will start reading poetry. The other class got through quite a bit. We actually got through 4 poems. It's what stands to be seen if we'll be able to get through as many. Although it may go slightly faster with. It's not that I don't like the poems. I feel like I have nothing to say because I don't have the experiences that the people in the poems have had. So we'll approach it in I guess by starting first the way we did in the other class, so we could just do the same thing there. But 916, which is Open Letter to the South. Because I find the poems by Cullen and Langston Hughes very frustrating, but for weird reasons, and I'll have to explain like what that means. And I think it's mostly because of Facebook and social media that I process these in weird ways. And this reminds me a lot of I can't remember the guy's name, but Carl Sandburg. But he wrote a poem called Chicago, and this reminds me a lot of Chicago. And I think that he probably wrote this after Carl Sandburg wrote Chicago. It's got almost like a feeling of like a kindly preacher having a discussion with you in a sermon form to me. 917 is really where the poem starts. But white workers of the South, miners, farmers, mechanics, mill hands, shop girls, railway men, servants, tobacco workers, sharecroppers, greetings. I am the black worker. Listen, that the land might be ours, and the mines and the factories and the office towers at Harlan, Richmond, Gastonia, Atlanta, New Orleans. Let the plants and the roads and the tools of power be ours. Let us forget what Booker T said. Separate as the fingers. And I really don't know if it's supposed to be separate as the fingers or separate as the fingers. I don't really know if he means that in a vowel or an adjective form. Let us become instead, you and I, one single hand that can united rise to smash the old dead dogmas of the past, to kill the lies of color that keep the rich enthroned and drive us to the time clock and the plow, helpless, stupid, scattered, and alone, as now, race against race, because one is black, another white of face. Let us new lessons learn, all workers, new life ways make, one union form until the future burns out every past mistake. Let us together say, you are my brother, black or white, you my sister, now, today. For me, no more the great migration to the north. Instead, migration into force and power. Tuskegee with a new flag on the tower. On every lynching tree, a poster crying, "Free!" Because, oh poor white workers, you have linked your hands with me. We did not know that we were brothers, now we know. Out of that brotherhood, let power grow. We did not know that we were strong, and now we see in union lies our strength. Let union be the force that breaks the time clock, smashes misery, takes land, takes factories, takes office towers, takes tools and banks and mines, railroads, ships, and dams until the forces of the world are ours. White worker, here is my hand. Today, we're man to man. So, yeah.
Pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
They're pretty
I
straightforward.
like this one a lot.
I like them. To me, it's like I feel like it's one of those poems where there's not a whole. I mean, when I read a poem like this, it's hard for me to. You know what? Maybe we'll just read another one too. In fact, I kind of just want to read all the Cullen poem incident and Harlem too. I don't know. Do we want to talk about this one before we move on? Because I kind of want to. I don't know. I feel like they all really go together.
They do.
Yeah. I feel like we should all read them.
We'll read through all of them, and then we can talk about everything. Okay. So I skipped Theme for English B. You could read that if you wanted to, but it was too much. I thought too many poems to require you to. So we'll do Cullen's incident next because I think it's a little more specific, and then it's interesting because Langston Hughes' Open Letter to the South is very specific, and then Harlem is very general. So we'll do Incident 894, but kind of hold your finger, I guess, on that other page so that you can come back to it easy.
Wait, what's that?
894. County Cullen's incident, which I felt feels really real. Feels really real. That's right. I'm a poet. And I will I will let you know ahead of time so it's not a shock. I will be reading that word.
Go ahead.
I will be, because I think it's important. Once riding in old Baltimore, heart filled, head filled with glee, I saw a Baltimorean keep looking straight at me. Now I was 8 and very small, and he was no whit bigger, and so I smiled. But he poked out his tongue and called me nigger. I saw the whole of Baltimore from May until December, and of all the things that happened there, that's all that I remember. I have a very strong belief, because I see all the time that there are schools that are banning Mark Twain's Huckleberry Finn and To Kill a Mockingbird.
Yep.
One I kind of understand a little more, because Canada, there's a Canadian, there was some school in Canada that said they were banning it because, and I'd never heard this before, and I was kind of shocked to hear this actually, but I guess you could make the argument that in Mark Twain's Huckleberry Finn and To Kill a Mockingbird, in both of those stories, there's a white savior, which has become increasingly a problem seen today. And it seems like always in a narrative where the African Americans want to make things better for themselves, there seems to be this white savior who makes everything better for them. And they're like, no, we can make it better for ourselves. We just have to be given the opportunity by writers to do so. And so that I get. But in terms of getting rid of it in a curriculum because of the N-word, I don't think that that's right. And the reason I don't think that that's right is because every time that word is spoken in those books by those authors who are doing it, I think, for the right reason, they're doing it to show us people saying it so that we are uncomfortable, purposely uncomfortable. For example, I was using, the other day I saw this and it was kind of relevant. I don't know if I can find it again. I really hope I favorited it, but I don't think I did. It's in my saved stuff. I know exactly what spot. No. It wasn't that one, but that was also appropriate. Here we go. So I won't read the N-word in this because I don't feel it's appropriate here, because it's used colloquially between a guy and other guys that he would use it with. And he said, I'm just going to switch out the word with the word guy because I feel it flows better. This is a tweet which is from one of my favorite subreddits called Black People Twitter, where black people of Reddit go find the best tweets posted by black people on Twitter, and then they put them on Reddit. And so this one is a guy, he says, if I was a slave, I would have ran. I would have led the revolution. A guy that hides his phone when his manager walks past. And I was like, that's true. Yeah, you remember that talk about, like, I would be the hero, you know? And so it's like, if I was a slave, I would have ran. I would have led the revolution. And then it's like, yeah, he's like sitting there typing this tweet out. I would run the revolution. But see, I wouldn't read the N-word there because to me that's used in like a friend-to-friend context, which I don't feel I have the right to use. But in this case, this word's supposed to sting. Like we're supposed to hear it, and it's supposed to make us. I feel, in fact, it's almost more effective. I mean, I feel like the most effective way to hear this poem would be to have like a black person read the poem and then have a white person say the N-word. And see, I'm saying it because I feel that sounds more realistic there.
I thought of it as like, I mean, when I said it, when I was reading it, I was thinking of like a kid and my son at school. And,
yeah.
And I mean, because you said it.
Yeah, I tried to say it like somebody who really doesn't know what the word means, but he knows I'm supposed to be mad at you for using it. That's how I tried to read it. Like, because it's another kid, right?
Yeah.
He was no whit bigger. He was like basically another little kid. He's like, I've heard my dad say this, so here's this word. You know, that's kind of how it's supposed to be said. So I'm going to avoid saying it anymore. But the one time I did say it in the poem, I think that's how he wants it. How he wants it to be read, because his name is County, and so I always forget if he's male or female. Yeah, it sounds like a girl's name to me.
Really? I thought it was a dude.
Really? I thought from the way it's written that it was a guy.
Well, I thought the way the name was spelled.
No, I thought it was.
Yeah.
I don't know, for some reason I thought County was a dude's name.
Oh, yeah, no, I know the guy.
And then we have, but we'll talk about this with Emily Dickinson later, but Emily Dickinson would sometimes write as a man. So she'd have like a male person speaking in the poem. So sometimes you can't even necessarily, with poems, there's something we always think are very personal, but they're not always. Now, Langston Hughes will go back over to 921 and just read that one as well. Harlem. And I feel like this one it's probably the most anthologized of his poems because it's the most universal. When ideas are universal and somebody can take an idea that's really meant for race and apply it to everything, that they tend to like last longer in that way. And it says, what happens to a dream deferred? Does it dry up like a raisin in the sun? Or fester like a sore and then run? Does it stink like rotten meat? Or crust and sugar over like a syrupy sweet? Maybe it just sags like a heavy load. Or does it explode? I feel like it's kind of like he's ramping up and down and up and down and up and down and then boom, boom. Like it's just, or it goes boom. I feel like, all these are, of course, related by race. I feel like I have to read them all together, though, when I read them, because my experience with racism is much different, I think, than everybody else's. Maybe not everybody else's, but on my Facebook and social media, I don't even use Facebook really. I get on there to like post cute pictures of Carly or look at the ones Chrissy has posted and like them because that's the husbandly duty. Like, oh, heart, you know. I'm not even doing the thumb. I'm clicking it, holding my finger, swiping over, doing the heart because I love it. Because that's the husband's duty. So I do that, and that's about it. That's about all I see on Facebook. When I do go to Facebook, though, is I see, I do have the people from my high school on Facebook. But what I see mostly are, because I always find their posts interesting. I've always been this way. The other university professors that I had that I've added, and they've added me back. Because that's essentially my job, and so, I see their education posts and things, and those interest me. And then I've got other people I went to college with who, there's actually a girl I went to high school with who is a university, or not a university, she works at a community college as well. She works at Navarro. And she's got her PhD in English. I just have a master's. I do the same job with a master's, so it's whatever. But I also have my fellow teachers from here that post. So I usually see a lot of stuff from Miss Elliott, and I sometimes see stuff from Norris and various ones as well. But that's the people I see from, right? So I see from people who daily are in a classroom, see people from all walks of life. I don't see a lot of racism in my daily life. I'm mostly introverted. So I know it seems like maybe you seem like an extrovert, like I'm in front of a classroom, but when I leave this place and I go home, it's like me and my wife and my kids, and that's us. That's all it is. We don't go really places, and when we do go places, we're always like, oh, the crowds. Like we went to Dallas World Aquarium this weekend, and we were like, oh man, the crowds. But it was really cool because like when I went to the aquarium, like, dude, it was like, every place I go around here, it feels like
You run into someone.
white people is how it is kind of around here. And I went to the Dallas World Aquarium, and it was like black families and Hispanic families and like Arab families, Indian. Yeah, everybody was there. And so it was just really cool getting to be like around all kinds of different types of people, because that's what I really like. But I want to live in the country too, because it's where I grew up, and I'm a very like, my family's here, and like it's very location specific. And I tried living in the city once, and there's just too many people. Like I prefer the introversion of around here. But as a result, and I think of the algorithms I see on social media too, and the sites that I go to, I see basically zero racism. And when I do see racism, it's like when I watch Chappelle, and Chappelle says, like, it's almost like I feel like this way when he said to like the mostly black audience, but he was very like, what's the word for androgynous? You ever heard of androgynous? Where it means appeals equally to both genders, like both people can, like, what is it, like Mario Lopez is very androgynous. No, who's a better one? Channing Tatum is very androgynous because girls like him because he's super, super cute. And guys like him because he kind of seems like a fun guy to hang out with. Like he's like, hey, he's kind of cool and funny. And so whatever the word is for that with race, Chappelle could appeal to like anybody from like any race, but talking about racism. And one of the things that he said one time, he said, he's talking to black people, and he said, you ever go through something that's so racist that you don't even think it's actually racist because it's just so racist? He says, and you kind of look at it from the outside and you think, oh, that was racist. Like, almost like you just think of like you're looking at it from the outside, like through a window, and not even like it's happening to you. Like he said, one time I was on a comedy special, like, and I went to the South, and like I went to a restaurant. And Chappelle's just so great at this kind of humor. It's not me. I'm like saying what he said, but he said I walked into a restaurant, and he said ordered a meal like in the South, and he said I hadn't experienced any kind of racism at all yet. And he said I went, yeah, I think I'll have. And he said, and the guy said, the chicken, and he was like, yeah, how'd you know that? He said, man, don't you know, ever since you walked into this dadgum room, everybody knew you was going to order the chicken. And then Chappelle said, and it was crazy because, like, I never experienced anything like that before. And the worst part was, he was absolutely right. I was getting the chicken. And, like, Chappelle. But he says, like, he said, but you see that from the outside and you go, oh, that's racist. Like it's kind of, you see it from the outside and you go, oh man, that was racist. That's like crazy racism. Like that's real. Like I didn't think people were ever actually that racist. Just assume like they even know like what you're eating on a plate. And Chappelle, he tries to like deflate it by saying, well, I was, but he's being silly. But it's like I've always viewed it from like kind of that outside where I go like, but that is just racist. But I don't on a daily basis, I don't want to say get to, but I've never really had to see people be racist against people I'm around, or hear somebody going through something racist, or hear racism myself. Like nobody's like, I really feel like if I had to be dead honest, like the most privileged place in American society is to be a white male. I never have to deal with any kind of racism, like at all. No, I never feel like I'm discriminated against, ever. I feel like even too, if I was to go into like a neighborhood with like minorities, I feel like I'd almost be like, for the most part, accepted. Like I'd be like, oh hey, he's here. What's he doing here? You want to hang out? And like, I feel like it wouldn't be like. And every time I've gone into a place like that, it's like I always feel accepted and not like discriminated against. So my experience with these poems is like way different because I don't experience this. And so, I mean, the closest I think I've ever come to being or saying something racist was when I was a kid. You know, I was around nothing but white people, and you tend to just know. You know, I went to a church, and I think it was mostly white people, and hung around white people. My family was white, so we went to a softball game. Yeah, you know, I don't know. Can we really hold children accountable for who their parents bring them around?
No.
Well, then we shouldn't detain them either. So I was at this softball game for Church of Christ, and there was a kid there, and he was Hispanic. But the only word I'd ever heard for Hispanic people, because of my dad, I guess, was Mexicans. I never heard the word Hispanic or Latino or anything like that, so I said Mexicans. There was kids there who was Hispanic, and I just always been delighted by different people, like people to meet and stuff. And I was like, oh, guys, look, it's Mexicans. And I was just like excited. Like I I walked over and I said, hey guys, are you Mexican? And I got pushed down to the ground, and I was like, it was almost like my version of the incident where it's like, it wasn't where I was enduring racism, but apparently I was the racist and didn't realize it. But not like that, where that kid's like, yeah, he says the N-word. I was just like, hi, Mexican, be my friend. And he was like, pushes me down. I was like, I'm very confused. And I went later and I apologized to him. I said, I'm sorry. I didn't know. And I still didn't even know what I did wrong at that point. I was like, I don't know what I said. Like I was trying to figure it out because I just thought, you know, it's like calling somebody just by what they're called. You know, I didn't know that wasn't what you say. And so, I don't know. That's about the most racist thing I've ever been involved in. That's it. I know, right? And I have students who write essays, sometimes the narrative essays, and I still can only ever really truly view that from an academic standpoint. You know, I can only see like this is a thing that does happen to people, but I have no personal experience with it. It's just weird to me. Like, I imagine there's people in the room who deal with racism all the time and have seen racism.
My dad was really racist against every race that wasn't white. So,
Like my grandpa made he was making a derogatory comment about, and I quote, them Mexicans. My husband was standing next to him. My husband looks at him, he goes, you do realize my mom is a Mexican. And he's like, what? And he's like,
Hey, take your medicine.
yeah, I'm Hispanic, half Hispanic.
you got 5 minutes.
He's like, I thought you were just, you know, Italian. And then I was like, because that makes it better.
And it's weird too, because almost everybody you know who has like that, like, yeah. But he cared, didn't he? He was like, oh my gosh. It wasn't like he suddenly was like, oh well, this side of the family, I'm just not going to talk to anymore. Did he do that?
He never met my mother-in-law, but it was like the doom that came over his face. I was like, you do realize that.
See, my dad was
grandson-in-law.
my dad was one of those people who didn't care. He was just like, I don't care what you think about me. Like, this is my opinion. I'm gonna shove it in your face.
My family is like 100% everything. Like, there's Hispanics in my family.
Okay, just a second. I don't think that's genetically possible. But continue.
Like my uncles have married Mexican women, or Hispanic women, or white women, or freaking a Chinese woman. So there's like all kinds of races throughout my cousins that are in my family. So I've never had to experience like racism in my family, but like growing up, not when I was younger, but when I got a little bit older, we lived next door to this white family that had all white daughters, and their mom was super loving, like she loved us. But their dad, if their dad was home, we could not come over, and they couldn't come over our house.
That's how my dad
Because
was.
he was racist. Like, he did not like black people. He did not like Mexican people. He did not like any other race except for white. And then growing up to be older, I feel like I see more black people being racist than white people being racist in like my age area, you know? 'Cause
Yeah.
they wanna feel like that everything that's going on is about them or something, so they make it about other
Yeah.
people. Like,
Well, are you mostly around, would you say, like in terms of like your free time and like when you're outside of here, are you mostly around other black people?
I'm just like a person like you said, like I love different cultures. Like
See, I love different cultures, but I spend all my time around white people.
well, I don't spend all my time around black people either. Like I work at Chili's.
Oh, okay.
It's a very diverse community there, and if I'm not at home, then I'm at work.
Especially when you see.
See, no, in high school,
Yeah.
I was really obsessed
Hey,
with Hispanic culture. So, like, all my friends were
Well,
Hispanic. Like, my Spanish teacher, like, she would come over to my house and we would go shopping together. Like, I was like, I don't know, I had a bunch of Hispanic friends. I had, like, one white friend and that was it.
Well, I just wondered because I was thinking because, I mean, maybe the people who trust you enough to share their actual views are maybe the people that you're closest to, which would probably be black. But I don't know, like me, like I don't have a lot of people who are sharing racist views to me at all. So I don't know who shares the racist views.
It's
Or
just like when you see stuff like, just like you said, you have a lot of people from your high school on your Facebook. And I go on Facebook to look at funny memes. Because that's just my life.
But I know what she's saying. There are some people.
I separate my life and my meme life. I have Reddit for meme life, and I
Yes.
have.
Like I literally, I try to go to Instagram mostly for the memes.
Yeah.
It's just pictures.
Yeah.
But like if I get on Facebook and I'm like scrolling through Facebook and I'm looking at memes, I'll randomly see somebody from my high school saying something about these white people trying to get these black people, like that kind of thing. And I'm like,
No, yeah, that's what I say.
but,
So it's racism on all sides, really.
Yeah.
It's just
yeah,
ignorance from everybody.
yeah. And I'm just
But
like,
that's
I mean,
just
if
the
you
way
just-
people are just mean. A lot of people are just unkind. I mean, that's the whole problem with the world today is we don't pay attention to
Like just like in the late
we don't respect
Review's poem, like what did it? Take my hand. He said something like, "Take my hand, so we can
Yeah.
work together
Yeah.
and not be separate as fingers."
because we'll be
like-
stronger together.
Because yeah, I mean, I feel like everybody is stronger together in life, and that's what being American is.
Yeah,
pretty much.
that's
You
what I feel.
work and live together. But
Yeah, I
mean,
like
it's called
people
the
are
United
still,
States.
yeah, and
Well,
people,
yeah,
but people
no,
still
exactly.
like look at Indians or Arabs or something, or I don't know.
Yeah,
They
like,
just look at everybody and they're like, oh my God, don't talk to him because
you know, there are some white
he's
people.
got a turban on his head. And I'm like,
I mean, there are some white people
That's
that I've met, and they think that America should be a white country. You know, like those people that say people should speak English if you're going to go over here. But that's not true. Like, America was built on immigration. Like, the white people immigrated here, you know? Like,
At the same time as
like
everybody
that's
else.
the whole point. Exactly. So we're supposed to be a diverse country.
I just feel
and
like
culture.
it comes from the youth more. Like, I can understand older people being racist because, I mean, that's how they grew up.
That's what they grew up in.
Yeah, like
But-
my great uncle. Totally
We're,
understand that.
we're supposed to be the ones that break that.
Yeah.
Right,
That
and we
cycle,
don't.
break the chain of it. Like, we should be the ones that are accepting of everybody else because
But honestly-
we're younger. And just like you said, like, our research paper is supposed to show, like, this is what happened. So this is how it needs to be, pretty much. Like, we should learn from this.
Yeah.
I feel like these are all poems that people should learn from in America today because
Mm-hmm.
everybody is just bent on racism. Like, everything is racist. Like, I like
It may
Code
be-
Red, that's racist.
It may be more understandable.
That is so true.
It may be-
doesn't understand it. When you turn on the news, that's what they're talking about. Like, I turned on the radio this morning, and I like to listen to talk radio in the morning just to hear what's going on because I'd rather hear it than look at it and try to read the words at the bottom of the screen. But they were talking about some kids at a high school that were like blaring out the N-word, but they were saying it with the A on the end of it, so it made it okay because I don't know, the kids are gonna get in trouble because they aired it to Facebook or something, like shared it to Facebook, but like it was a group of kids, like white kids or something, that were like saying N-word, 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 like all over the video or something like that, and the school like tried to get together with the parents so they can figure out how to take the video down and all this other stuff, so there's like still a little clip on the internet that they found, but I mean, they should be punished for doing that just because, like, there was one kid that
Were they
said,
doing
I
it just
mean,
being mean?
Yeah, they were just
Oh,
being
okay.
mean. Like there was one kid that you could tell he was white by listening to him talk. He was like, I mean, youth these days think that it's okay to say that because there are a lot of songs that say that word, and I can understand that, but they weren't saying it like a song. They were saying it like chanting it, and that should be punished.
They were saying it just to say it.
Just to say it, like, and that, I mean, that should be
Yeah.
punished. Like,
That should be punished.
just so people know, like, you can't treat people like that. Like,
I had a weird place I saw something pop up of all places was I was watching Big Brother this summer. And yes, yeah, I took the medicine. Thank y'all for reminding me. By the way. But it was watching Big Brother of all places this summer. I saw some girl was quoting a song lyric or something like when she was talking to somebody about like her decision making process and like why she was putting the people up she was putting up. And she like said the words, and then like it reminded her of the rest of the song, so she kept like singing for a second. You're not supposed to sing on Big Brother because it's like copyrighted material, and
oh yeah.
anybody watching the live feeds, they have to pay for anything that's copyrighted, so they had to pay money. But what happened was she said it. She spoke a lyric that had the N-word in it, and I think that what you're saying is like a lot of people take it and they say, oh, if the N-word's in the song, it's okay, I can say it. And then other people go, oh no, you're not supposed to say it because it's not your right to say it. And then there's like, I'd never really even thought about it before. It's like, I guess I wouldn't say it around other people, but like I know that there's a song called, I think it's JC and Justin Timberlake. What's the name of the song? Is it TKO? Is it? He goes like, Justin Timberlake comes in, he's singing like, what do they call that person in like a rap song where it's like, it's not rap, but it's like hip hop, but it's like the person who's like doing the pretty singing in the background, and somebody comes in and they're getting kind of serious, and then like they come in like, and then the next person comes back and he's like, pretty stuff, and then the other guy goes, like there's the guy and there's the pretty stuff guy. I don't know what you call that.
We're gonna go pretty stuff guy.
But like he goes, what was it? It's I know the song, Holy Grail. That's the one, yeah. But I listened to, and like when I'm singing in my car, because I just liked it. It's just such a good, like I don't know, the sounds are really good and they work well together. I sing the word in the song, and I'd never thought about like, what if I was in a scenario where I was around other people and I was singing the song? Like I would just stop saying the word. But with other people, like they really enjoy the music, put out by the black community essentially. And so when they think the word, they think of it as like, it's a weird place because that word I think is being used in a sense of like it's us talking to each other.
Like it could
but other people like it.
It could be derogatory too.
Right, it could be derogatory. But other people hear it and they feel like I'm part of the black community, but they're just like little white kids listening to music, and so like I'm part of the black community. And they sing this music and like I like this music, and then you like if you sing it around somebody else, they're like, oh no, you can't say that word.
Yeah,
I can't. I thought I like the music though.
That anybody should be able to say that.
So
Like,
I
if one person can't say it, then no one should be able to say it. Like
Right. No,
it
that's
shouldn't be a way to say,
Yeah, I don't know.
hey, what's up, bud, or whatever.
Yeah.
Like you shouldn't do that.
So I
like,
have a
because
question.
when you do that in front of people, you're giving them permission to say it.
If
Because
I were,
if you think
What if
it's such
somebody
a
asks,
oh go ahead.
like, a friend of mine, his name's Alvin, when he introduced himself to me, he's like, hi, my name's N-word Alvin, you will call me this. And I was like, what?
I guess if that's what he says, you have to say
And
that.
like, he wouldn't
Alvin's the white
respond to
So what it says? He identifies as a.
he is a black man, and he's like, hey, my name's N-word Alvin.
That almost sounds like they have the transgender thing and they have like their pronouns they want, so like it's almost like he's transracial. He's like, my pronoun is N-word.
And I mean, it was to the point where if I called him Alvin, he would literally wouldn't even respond to me, and I'd have to say,
Thou shalt address me, Sir Alvin, but like a different way, I guess.
It's like people shouldn't get mad about if you're gonna say it, don't get mad that somebody else is saying it because you just gave them permission to say it because that's supposed to be a word that oppresses black people or like makes you feel oppressed or whatever, but you're saying it, so.
I don't know, I don't say it.
So if
I don't say it either.
we were to sing a song, right? Would you be offended if I sing the song with you?
Honestly,
that has
I'm
the
not
word?
offended. Like, I'm just that person that's not offended by it. Like, I can hear her say it, you say it, her say it. Mr. Nichols say it, and I.
But then it's like you said, you're very multicultural. Hey, Radios, what did you have to say?
That's just me, but like if you're around one of my other friends, like
Yeah.
one of the girls that
Get really mad?
that I'm really close with, if you were around her, maybe not you because you're Hispanic, because she has different views towards Hispanics than she does white people. So if a white person if she was biased and she said it,
what is it in Black Panther when the white guy shows up and she says colonizer? Just says it like it's nothing. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean.
It's like, Mariana, you're not a colonizer. You're you're fine.
You came with us or something. I don't know, but a friend that I did a lot of stuff with in high school and hung out with a lot in high school. She is one of those people, I could show you her Snapchat now and she would probably be talking about how the white person is trying to get her down, the white man is doing this or something. She's that kind of person. Her uncle is really pro-black, like a Black Panther pro-black kind of thing. And that's how she thinks because she was raised around him. So if she said it, then she'd be like, B, don't you say this. That's not for you to say. But if you said it, she would be like,
Okay.
jamming with you, know?
The Radios, what'd you have?
For me, in the song, it's if it's just in the song and you're just singing along to it, I think it's fine. But it's when you put emphasis on it, that's when I feel kind of weird about it.
For me, it's two consonants that sound great with other words. It's a N and a G, and they always kind of flow together. It's really weird when you think about the way that it's been changed. It works really well in song, but if you have it with the hard R at the end, it does not sound good in any context.
Oh, yeah.
You can't make it sound good in a song.
You can't make it sound good at all.
What?
I immediately think of the song Lil Dicky and Chris Brown.
I don't know.
The Chris Brown song, Chris Brown and Lil Dicky, and he's like, I woke up in Chris Brown's body, and he acts like Chris Brown, and he's like, what's up, man? Big ups, man, like that.
And it was just,
But-
he's like, can I say the N-word now? And he just,
And
all
he
of a sudden,
goes with
every
it,
other word is that. You're like, oh my god.
Hey, there was something I wanted to mention in the last 5 minutes, not to ruin your days or anything, but I read this morning. I don't know if I haven't seen anybody else report on this, so I don't know if I read a fake article or something. So, but it's appropriate to now. And I emailed myself this article. Is that Axios, which is apparently owned by HBO, but they had an exclusive story that they put out where they had an interview with Trump, but he wants to sign an executive order that removes birthright citizenship. So if you're born in America, you're automatically a citizen. He wants to take that away.
What?
Yeah, that's not okay.
Huh?
He wants to go over
I know it doesn't sound legit, but he said, but the argument. That's why I think the article sounded real, because the argument or the interview questions that they were talking about made sense. It sounded like somebody would actually say this. But apparently it's going to be in an interview that they had on HBO or Axios with HBO. But essentially it was the idea that the 14th Amendment says if you're, I don't know, it's something. Let me see. What was it? Let me look at the particulars here. It said, let me see. It had the quote from the 14th Amendment, which I believe was what guaranteed citizenship to the slaves after they were free.
The 13th, the 14th, and the 15th Amendment are all slave agreements.
Born and naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction, therefore, are citizens of the United States and the state wherein they reside.
Yeah, I think that the reason that the thing he's trying to say, and granted, here's the thing: is if he tries to sign an executive order that does that, it's not going to work.
Yeah.
It just won't.
Definitely.
But just the idea that somebody would think they could even sign that is kind of scary.
That is
very
Because that doesn't just affect that. A lot of times, you hear people they're going to cross the border and they're trying to become American citizens or stay here. I can understand some people being mad about that. I get it. But it's always been or at least I guess since the 14th Amendment, if you're born here, you're American.
Yeah. And that's the way it should be.
But it's the idea that he's saying if you're born here but your parents aren't legal citizens, then you wouldn't be either.
Oh. That's not right.
But they would be.
Then probably he
To me, I
probably won't be either.
I feel like though that I feel like while he might be thinking that would appeal to his base, he might be thinking that he might be trying to distract from this whole package bomb violence thing and appeal to his base.
I don't even know about it.
The package bomb thing was like.
He was making pipe bombs and sending them to Trump.
By the way, you
Yeah, it's like yes, they were sent. The guy sent bombs to Obama, Clinton, George Soros, Robert De
The
Niro.
Democrats paid some Democrat to send bombs to Democrats.
Wait, are you saying that, or are you saying that that's what people are? Okay. Because I was about to say how dumb that is. Like, essentially, like it's almost like having your. It's like okay, for example, it's like having your all-star team of people, and then like I've heard a lot of people like there are people who are arguing that oh, this is a liberal conspiracy. They're trying to bomb their own people to like who bombs their best. They're like. That's like you're playing chess and you're like, I'm gonna take out my king, my queen, my bishop, my rook, so I've got 2 pawns left, and I'm gonna trounce you. What are you gonna do? You can't do anything. But this whole idea about the birthright citizenship, I think, goes along with that. Is that? But I mean, I don't know. I feel like our love of American football won't let us not allow that. And what I say is like, like when you play football, yeah, maybe you hope to get all the way across the goal line, but when that person catches that ball and they land, and that football's an inch across that line, touchdown. So if you're a family and you work hard enough to get your kid to the border, and then like you give birth like on the 2 inches over the other side of the border in America, we're like, oh, they did it, they won. You won the game, good job, American citizen kid. Like I feel like even if we do everything we do to stop that kid from getting here, once they're here, it's like you did it. Can't argue with you there. Good job. And I just feel like that. I don't know. I think it's so American that like you try to give your kid a better life. That's an American idea. Everybody wants that. I just feel like, but that puts everything. If he talk about taking birthright citizenship away and not making it, like if he actually tries to do that and tries to make it like retroactive, where like he's not going to make it. I mean, that'd be like I haven't. Sometimes entire classrooms where like probably a third of the classroom would be deported. Because they were like their parents weren't legal when they were born here.
But do you think it has anything to do with like a lot of people who are trying to open up the borders are doing it like Vito, like his main purpose is that he is doing it to prevent the further separation of families, right? Well, technically what's happening is the parents aren't legal, so they're getting sent home, but the kids are staying because they're legal. So could it have something to do with that? Maybe he's trying to not break up
separate families. Well, partly he's probably when he's got his stance on immigration.
That would be the good look on it.
The stance on immigration that he currently has, actually, I think is, believe it or not, this is very strange, but there are lots of ideas that are out there in the world. I probably can sum this up in 45 seconds. There are ideas that are out there that if you try harder to do something, it'll work better. There was a Navy general who became the head of border security for the United States, and he took the same stance on border security that he took on as a general. And he was very like, we're going to follow the rules, we're going to make sure that we're very hardline on this. And he started stepping it up on immigration. He said, there are people going across the border every day, coming in, working, going home, and just constant immigration. And he said, we're going to stop this, we're going to close the borders. What it did was increased immigration. Since he did that, people realized, oh, I can't come across just leisurely anymore. So if I've got to choose between Mexico and the United States, I'm choosing the United States. And the harder it gets, the more immigration we have, because people realize I've only got one chance, I better make it count. And so I think that's part of the reason why Beto wants to open the borders up, is because it'll reduce the amount of permanent immigration, and it'll keep families from being separated, which is strange and counterintuitive, but it's shown to actually be the case. And the wall is not going to do anything. It's just a wall. If we got drones that can fly over it, somebody's going to figure out how to get over it. But yeah, we'll talk about these more next time. We got halfway through what the other class did.
Have y'all ever watched Texas Game?